Welcome to a new video, everybody. Today we're going to be installing some custom lug nuts on our new RTX wheels. But first, before we install them, we need to talk a little bit about the specifics of these lug nuts. Now, before you go buying just any lug nuts you see on the internet, you need to check for a few things first. The very first and most important thing I would say is making sure that your lug nuts are made out of a durable material. Do not get aluminum or aluminum alloy lug nuts whatsoever. I don't care if it looks like a good price, there's a reason that they are so cheap. They will break and your wheel will fall off. You need to look for steel or forged steel. This is something that you don't need to cheap out on. The second thing that you need to check is what is the base of your lug nut, or what type of fitting do you have around the seat of the lug nut. So my lug nuts here, I've actually already got a custom set because I had the Motegi racing wheels on before these RTX wheels, and I had these custom lug nuts put on. So as you can see, the base or the seat of the lug nut here is in an acorn style. It tapers down and it actually kind of looks like an acorn. You need to make sure that your new lug nuts have that exact same seating or base. And here are the two next to each other, so you can see they both have that tapered off acorn look at the top. And the third thing that you need to check for is something called thread pitch. Now that is actually the diameter and the depth of how far the lug nut is. So these here, this custom set that I had put on, are all, I believe, 12.5 millimeter by 1.5 inch. So I made sure that when I got these new lug nuts, I got 12.5 millimeters on the diameter and 1.5 inch of thread depth. To remove our current set of lug nuts, we'll need to use the special key that was provided to us when we bought them, and a large ratchet so that we can get a good amount of torque on each one. Now, when we put these new lug nuts on, we want to make sure that we put them on and tighten them in a star pattern. You don't want to just go one after the other, left to right, in any direction. You need to make sure that you're doing like a crisscross star pattern so that you can make sure everything stays tight, your wheel doesn't come loose, and you start getting all kinds of vibrations. Now we're going to go ahead and use the bigger key that was provided to us with the new lug nuts. Now that we've installed the lug nuts in a star pattern, we want to go back and retighten them in that same star pattern so that we make sure that they're firmly seated. One thing I forgot to mention earlier about the install of these, and you may actually have been wondering from the video, is why I'm not using power tools. If you use power tools, you actually have a really good chance at ruining the finish on the outside of the lug nuts here, and it actually states in the instructions to use manual tools only, because you probably will ruin that finish. Alright everybody, we've got everything installed on all four of our wheels. I've got all of my old lug nuts and the keys in here. I'm actually going to be keeping the big key that goes to these lug nuts in my car, but everything else I'm going to be keeping just kind of in a box here. That way it's all accessible in case I need any of it again. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the video. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I hope to see you in my next video.